Aaron Antis and James D. Cristofaro on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show. We're going to be interviewing two brothers who went from the bottom to the top. They went from a startup to being on the Shark Tank show, and now their product, called the Comfy, has grossed $20 million in sales in its first year alone.
Used to be the Cozy.
It used to be the Cozy, now it's called the Comfy, and they're here to share their story about how they went from the bottom to the top. All this and more on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, one thing that I never get tired of is having real deal success stories right here on the Thrive Time Show. I love America. I love the freedoms it provides us to go from the bottom to the top, and a lot of times it provides you the opportunity to go from the top to the bottom. I mean, think about that. In America, you can go from the bottom to the top to the top to the bottom. You can do whatever you want to do, but America gives you the options to do it. And on today's show, we are joined by the founders of they're brothers, and they're the founders of this product called the Comfy. It's the Comfy product. It's comfy. Aaron, there's something comfortable about this product. I feel more comfortable as I get prepared. I'm not nervous. I feel comfortable. The Comfy brothers, they're the founders. Michael and Brian, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you guys?
We're good, Clay. How are you, man?
Well, I'm fired up. I'm going to direct my first question towards Michael. So, Michael, how long have you been Brian's brother?
He's got me. So.
How long have you guys been brothers?
He's got me by 2 years.
2 years, okay.
48, I'm 46. Yeah.
Now, so Brian, when did you first have the idea to create the Comfy, and tell the listeners about what the Comfy is?
Well, the Comfy is the world's first truly wearable blanket. It's something that just kind of came out of nowhere from a couple of single dads in the desert at the time in 2017. And like you said in the beginning, Clay, it's just one of those things where, if you get off the couch and do something when you have an idea, great things can potentially happen. And that's certainly what happened to us. But my brother was going through a divorce at the time in February of 2017. He's staying at my house. He's all downtrodden and just depressed and really rough on him. Wakes up one morning, goes walking through the living room, and there on the couch is my, at the time, 7-year-old son, Saxon, who had stolen out of my closet one of my old Arizona Cardinals hoodies. So it's gigantic on him. It swallows him up. He's got his legs pulled into it, super oversized. Michael saw that when he came walking through. It's like, bro, you think they make something like that for adults? I'm completely oblivious to the whole thing. This is something that if Michael had not been going through a divorce and staying at my house, this never would have happened. There's so many things that had to happen to make this happen. But we're like, well, there's a blanket lying over the back of the sofa. Maybe we can make it like a wearable blanket kind of thing like that. Of course, someone had to have done that already. That's what we thought. And when great ideas happen, that's usually what it is, right? Hey, someone's thought of this. Well, we did all the research. Turns out that no one had done anything like that. So we kicked it around for a couple of weeks, and then we just went full steam ahead. We were going to create the Comfy, the world's first truly wearable blanket. And 6 months after that, we were standing in front of the Sharks on Shark Tank, getting a deal with Barbara Corcoran. So just a breakneck, have the idea and go for it kind of story that turned into something that's pretty special today.
Now, Michael, I want to ask you this. When a lot of people, when they get divorced, they go one of two ways. Way number one is the guy says, I'm going to hit the gym nonstop. I'm going to become jacked. Other people say, I'm going to pound the pizza. When you first got divorced, did you pound the pizza or did you hit the weights?
I did not. I definitely went the other way. When I was going through it right at the beginning, I didn't have much of an appetite for anything, so I was actually losing weight, and didn't turn to drinking or anything like but really just I was focusing my attention on my family more than anything.
Got it.
Trying to hold that together because honestly, it's the last thing I wanted in the world to go through this divorce.
Yeah.
For my kids and everything else. But thankfully, my big bro takes me in, and then that's where the company was born, coming from just the depths of sorrow. Where we've taken this thing in the last 4 years now.
Now, Michael, how did you go about getting on ABC's Shark Tank? I mean, we know that you're the better looking of the pair here. Did you use your looks and Brian's brain, or what? How did you get on ABC's Shark Tank?
Tell you, yeah, and we went from idea to standing in front of the sharks, filming that episode in 6 months. That's how fast it happened. We're really, really proud of that. We were one of the first true startups in over 4 years to actually get a spot on the show. But we just knew right at the beginning, we're like, we thought the idea was so good. We wanted to get it out there, and like, what is the fastest way to get this thing out there? And we were huge Shark Tank fans and said, you know what, let's try to get on Shark Tank and let's go for it. Went up to an audition, and really where the brilliance comes, and this is Brian's background in his media and producing and TV skills and everything. He's like, more than anything, yeah, we have a great product and all that, but we have to be entertaining. We have to be entertainers when we do this. So he came up with an incredible jingle, that kind of a Christmas jingle that we just put the company words to. And we got in front of these junior producers and just belted that out. And immediately we knew we were onto something. She pulls out her cell phone, says, I got to record this. They called us 2 days later, and we started the process of all the other interviews and paperwork and everything else. And we finally made it through a lot of perseverance because you're told no all the way. And so you actually are standing in front of the sharks. And we have stories to go along with that. But we made it happen, persevered, and got a deal with Barbara Corcoran 6 months after we came up with the idea. So pretty incredible speed.
Now, when you're on the show, Brian, what's that feel like? I mean, does it feel like, a lot of times if you go to I don't know if have you guys ever been to, Michael, have you ever been to a Minneapolis, to the Minnesota Twins games where the Twins play in the Metrodome before they move to a different stadium? Did you ever go to a Metrodome game for the Vikings or the Twins?
I did not.
Well, let me just tell you guys,
Nope.
This is something. Brian, this is good. Michael and Brian, this is important information. This is a great analogy here. When you go to a Twins game back in the day, there's a pea trough. No, listen, James. No, James. I don't want you.
This is true.
James, I don't want you laughing at me.
It's
a big trough.
All right.
And so you walk in, and there's no dividers, there's no partitions, and you're there, and you're going, okay. And sometimes when you step to the plate and there's 50 guys all going at the same time, you just can't go. Because the pressure, you're like,
stage fright.
Stage fright.
Yeah, and you're like, stop looking at me. And the guy's like, I'm not. Why are you looking at me? And the way they set it up, you literally look at
I
each
was
other.
just looking at your watch.
It's the weird deal. I mean, it's a pea trough. I mean, come on, what does it cost? They're selling hot dogs for $8.
Oh my God.
Why can't they put up a divider? No,
You're actually across from each other?
no, listen.
That would be worse. That would be much worse.
No, it's a pea trough that's like the entire it's the entire width of the room, and I'm like 12 years old, and there's like all these grown men. I'm like, stop looking at me. The whole thing is crazy. So you go there, and then you if you can't go, you realize, oh no. Because then the next time I go, I'm like,
Well, you're also about waist level at that point. You're 12
I'm like
years
12
old.
years old. I'm going, next time I go, I have to get to a place where I really have to go. So my dad's like, do you have to go? No, I'll wait till I really have to go because I got to flow because the guy behind me gets upset. The point is, I feel like being on the Shark Tank, you might feel like you're at the Metrodome and you have to pee, but you can't go. How does it feel, Brian, when you're on the Shark Tank? Could you go? Could you flow? Could you not? Tell us.
Well, that's probably the first time we've heard this analogy before, Clay, and I'm guessing it's probably going to be the last time we hear it too. The trough system, my God, who can't relate to that? But no,
Hey, bro, they had that at ASU, remember? I remember at ASU.
They did have that at the
Arizona
old
State
Sun Devil
University.
Stadium.
They had the
Oh,
trough
yeah.
system.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they did. Holy cow. Okay, so it was the most surreal experience of our lives. It had nothing to do with bodily functions or anything like that. Those doors open up. You've got chills up and down your spine because you have seen this on TV for 9 years at that time. The doors open. You see the sharks. You're walking out. The music's playing on TV. You don't hear anything when you're doing it in person. And then you get out there, and when you get to your spot, unlike what you see on TV where you just immediately the pitch begins, they tell you that when you get out there and you get to your spot, you have to stand there for like a minute, just staring at the sharks and smiling, while they get all the cameras ready and they get all the overhead shots and things like that. Now, if there was going to be a trough moment, that was it right there. When you're standing there staring at these titans of entrepreneurship who you have been watching for 9 years, you've never seen in person until those doors swung open, because they know nothing about you. You know everything about them by that point. But it's just surreal, man. I mean, and so we stood there and we knew that was going to happen, so we just looked them all right in the eye and smiled, went up and down the line until the producer says, begin, and then we're off and running. Our pre and pitch. But it was the most surreal moment of my life, when you're standing there and you just kind of got to pinch yourself, because it's like, dude, this is the most sacred ground in entrepreneurship right here. And we're here, and we've somehow gotten here. So now we got to bring it home.
Now I'm going to say this for anybody
at the same time too, bro.
Yeah.
It's real great. You hit that spot and everything, but there's no second takes. You got to keep that in mind. So when they say go, like, you better go, because if you screw it up, you've seen you've seen it before. Like, people freeze up for sure, and that's obviously, I think, kind of the analogy that you're getting at. But thankfully, it didn't happen. We were very prepared and ready to go.
I'll say this. Now, as a 40-year-old man, that's the same strategy I have now today whenever I encounter a Petroff. I get there early. I'm prepared. I make eye contact with everybody.
For at least 60 seconds.
For at least 60 seconds. And then when they say go, you just go.
Oh, yes. Woo! All right, so let's talk about the Comfy. Where can we buy it? I mean, if someone says, I want to buy this thing, how do they buy this thing? And then Aaron Antis, who's a show co-host with me here, he runs Oklahoma's largest home building company, and he has some great questions for you as well. But where can we buy this thing?
Yeah, thecomfy.com is the best place, but you can get it at Amazon, you can get it at Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, Sam's Clubs, all different types of places. Most of the big box stores for sure, but thecomfy.com is our favorite place for you to shop for us.
Thecomfy.com. Oh, wow. There it is. Look at this. There's quite a variety of shapes and sizes and colors. Look at that. The Comfy. There it is, folks. Thecomfy.com. Now, Aaron Antis.
Yes.
You've been self-employed for a long time. You run Oklahoma's largest home building company. Mm-hmm. What questions or question would you have for Brian and or Michael?
I actually believe that you guys discovered this in a different way than you're really telling everybody. We all had that friend in high school that maybe was a little bit larger than the rest of our friends.
Right, yeah.
And she loans her sweatshirt to her friend who's like, 85 pounds or 100 pounds soaking wet, and you saw them in the sweatshirt that was oversized, and you were like, aha, I have the idea. Is that really how this happened?
Okay. Nope, it happened exactly the way that we said it did. It was a 7-year-old kid on a couch in the middle of the Arizona desert. It was developed in the heat of 115-degree summertime temperatures. It made by a couple of single dads at the time. It truly does make no sense.
Did you have
first wearable blanket from a couple of idiots like us?
Did you have any bad ideas that didn't work out? Like, was there an uncomfy? Have you guys had other businesses that didn't work out before that, or did you nail it on your first big idea?
Well, my brother was had a pool cleaning business, a good business, making a good living here in Phoenix. I've been a longtime TV news anchor, reporter, producer, all that stuff. So that my background was in TV, but I had my own production company at the time. So we both had our own entrepreneurial kind of things going. Gotcha. Always knew that we were never gonna, never wanted to work for the man if we could help it. So we were doing our own thing, but it's tough. And when you get a big idea like this, this is kind of the one where you kind of see, holy crap, maybe this could be something, because there don't seem to be too many roadblocks from this being really the product of a lifetime. And so we took the skills that we had from our previous entrepreneurial roles, but also we took the power of kind of being clueless about the whole thing, about creating products and things like that. And that is why I think we were able to get it done as quickly as we were, because anybody who's been in business knows that once things get corporatized, everything starts to slow down, right? That's kind of how things have become for us over time over the last 4 years. It slows down. Things don't get done as fast. There's a lot more red tape. But when you don't really know what you don't know, or when you know what you don't know and you just go for it and don't take no for an answer, and you're like, what do you mean this is going to take a year and a half? BS, we're going to be on Shark Tank in 6 months, baby. Why can't we?
Right.
Why can't we do it? And that's the attitude we took the entire time, and I think that was really the key to our success. Is the key, just kind of being clueless about the whole process. That really helped us.
Now, Michael, how would you describe the success that you're experiencing now? How would you describe what it's like to, obviously you're growing the brand. It's going to keep expanding. You're hiring. You're scaling. But how would you describe what it feels like to be where you are at right now, as the product is really doing well and more people are hearing it from other buyers, and the word of mouth, the attraction is taking off? How would you describe what it feels like to be here right now?
It's a good question because, without trying not to sound arrogant, but it feels expected, honestly. From the beginning, when we came up with this, we look at each other like, how can we screw this up, bro? This is a product for everyone in the world. There's no sizing. It's a giftable item. The price point is right. Like, how do we screw this up? And so far, we have not. So in a way, like 4 years into this, I feel like we are just getting started with this whole thing. We're taking it to the whole world. There's so many more opportunities that we have in front of us building a full lifestyle brand just based off of our singular comfy product. We can expand into so many things. So really from the beginning, and I'm trying not to sound arrogant, but we kind of expected this as long as we didn't screw it up. That's how much confidence we had in this whole thing.
Now, Brian, I've got 3 rapid
And we
fire.
still worry about screwing it up every single day.
Every day.
I do worry about how we're going to mess this up, man.
Now, Brian, I have
Keep us
three.
on our toes.
I have 3 quick questions for you. Then we'll go to James for some questions here for you. 3 quick questions. Question number 1, Brian, for you is: what is a principle that you wish you could teach every entrepreneur out there? One thing you go, man, everybody needs to know this.
Take action, man. Get your butt off the couch and do something. Don't be that person who 2 years from now, when you see your idea being done by someone else, say, God dang it, I thought of that way back when. I didn't do anything about it. The power of taking action is real, because that is truly all we did. We had the idea, and instead of letting it die at that stage and letting fear take over and worries about money, and we just decided it's all going to work out one way or the other. If it doesn't, hey, at least we're going to go down swinging. So it's the power of taking action. That is by far the number 1 principle I think an entrepreneur needs to live by.
Michael, is there a certain book that you've read that you feel like has impacted you the most?
Early on, I'm going to say it was Barbara's book for sure. It was extremely inspiring because she's an entrepreneur at heart always, and she didn't know how to use her skills, to get to where she was at. But she started early on with New York real estate, and that was a man's world, especially back in the 70s, and with the way she had to grow up extremely quickly and dominate, honestly, in a man's world. So just very inspiring book. So definitely recommend that one.
Okay, and then my final question I'll go with here for you is Michael, when you think about the biggest adversity, the biggest challenge that you went through when building the brand, what was the biggest adversity?
Well, bro, we got told no. Throughout this entire thing. It's just, and we have our pity parties. I'd say for about 30 seconds, over and over again. We'd told no, whether it's from Shark Tank, getting on in front of them, the producers telling us the night before that we can't go on, or having to change our name the night before from Cozy to Comfy. Believe it or not, it's just. We just continually told no, but we just keep pushing through and persevering. And having your brother alongside you to do that has been an enormous part of it, because we have our little pity parties up or down, and we pick each other up. Just keep pressing forward.
Now, James, you're an attorney from New York.
Yep, that's right.
You are a man who has seen a lot of entrepreneurs succeed and fail. You've worked with massive clients, small clients. What questions would you have for our 2 guests today?
Hey guys, congratulations on your success and getting us together in 6 months and being on Shark Tank after 6 months, and also being where you are now. Clay asked half of my question. I had the other half of the question was kind of brings us forward, which is what's your biggest challenge now? What's your biggest limiting factor now? You just went over what happened when you first got started. What's your biggest limiting factor now?
tugging on the reins, making sure things don't get too out of control, that we've got this singular product that no one else had, that we invented, that we have to own, and that is the wearable blanket category. It would be very easy for us to go into, bedding and housewares and things like that right now. And that's not to say we won't do that over the course of time. But if we're not careful and we're not always on top of our very capable management team, that, hey, hold back. We don't need to do the pet comfy right now. We don't need to do this or that. We don't need to do bedspreads yet. We're going to get there. But not enough people know about us yet. There's probably only 10% of people that have ever even heard of the company. That's 90% more of the world that we've got to, or even the country that we've got to make aware of us. So it's not going after that low-hanging fruit, trying to grow too fast, handcuffing your cash, which is another thing something like that would do. It's just to keep your eye on the ball and own the category that you have created. That is by far the most important role that we have as founders right now.
And how much influence does Barbara have? Is she still in? Did you buy her out? Did she have a controlling stake? I mean, what does that look like?
No, our percentages still stay the same from when she bought her 30% on Shark Tank. So that's still the same. She's still, she's not involved with the day-to-day operations, never has been, but her wisdom and experience is always there for us. I mean, we just spoke to her yesterday. I mean, we can call her up any time to get some wisdom from her. And my brother always likes to say, whenever we speak to her, we always draw something out of her. Just an incredible, just so much wisdom that comes from this lady. It's incredible. So we always like to say, it's just a master class in business every time we speak with her. And she is so real. What you see is what you get with her on the show and off as well. It's amazing. It's been quite a ride with her.
The deal ended up exactly the same way as it came out on TV. It was exactly as you saw it on TV, and it turns out now that we are Barbara's number one company in her 12 seasons on the show. So that's another something that we're very, very proud of.
My final question on behalf of our listeners out there: what is an aspect of the show that is, maybe behind the scenes that's kind of funny, that people would have no idea you deal with as a guest? You know what I mean? Is there something behind the scenes that kind of happens that's a little bit funny, that or a little bit unique, that maybe the average viewer wouldn't know about?
Absolutely. Once you're done and you go back to your trailer and you're numb from the experience that you've just had, they send in a psychologist to every single entrepreneur that goes on the air. They send in a psychologist to be like, to just are you guys okay? Are you breathing okay? Just to make sure your mental distress level hasn't gotten too high. So I think that was pretty funny, actually.
And
wow.
How did you guys test out on the psychological test afterwards? Were you okay, or
we must have done okay. Right?
Well,
Let's go on.
we got a deal. Keep that in mind. So
right.
That helped significantly.
Now,
So not sure how it
they
would have gone
didn't
the other
crush
way.
you.
We might have needed that psychiatrist or multiple ones.
right?
True.
Now, so let's talk about this real quick here. If people want to, buy a product from you, do you have a hot special going on? Do you have a new product, a new line, a new make and model that people can look out for?
Man, there's always something going on. We started with the original Comfy, which is double layered. It's got a microfiber on the outside and a Sherpa lining on the inside, heavier, a little, made for winter, that kind of thing. Well, we've got a new product called the Comfy Dream that is a single layer, lighter weight version. It's what I see my wife, my stepdaughter, my son wearing around the house every single day, even in the summertime here in Arizona. So that's something that's cool to check out. But yeah, I think there's 10% off for all new customers that go to thecomfy.com. So it's a good time to check it out. We've never made it through a fourth quarter without being completely sold out by the beginning of December. So get in on it early. I don't know if this year's going to be any different.
Guys, I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us here on the Thrive Time Show. And I just want to tell you, you guys both sound like you're smelling terrific.
Hey, man. We'll always remember you for the trough system at the Metro Zone.
All right.
Thanks for the knowledge, Clay.
Hey, thanks a lot, man. You guys take care.
Okay, you guys.
Bye.
See ya.
And now, without any further ado, 3,